the streaming age of television we currently find ourselves in, it's impossible to watch everything. Whether a show is on television or online these days is almost a moot point, as so many shows find their way to audiences everywhere that we hardly have the time or energy to get to them all. When it comes to Westerns, Taylor Sheridan seems to have most of that market covered. But if you're a fan of his prequel series 1923, another short-lived drama is calling your name. Damnation is a powerful period drama that predates even Sheridan's take on this controversial time in American history, and it's a show well worth revisiting even after years off the air. Damnation is a compelling Depression-era Western drama. Having first premiered in 2017, Damnation was created by former Longmire scribe Tony Tost, the guy behind that exceptional Dog Soldier episode, who made the series in partnership with both Universal Cable Television and Netflix. While the show was fronted by Netflix Online, Damnation aired weekly in the United States on the USA Network from November 2017 until January 2018. Chronicling a farmer's strike in Holden, Iowa, the series primarily follows two conflicting characters, the preacher Seth Davenport, Killian Scott, and the strikebreaker Creeley Turner, Logan Marshall Green, as they find themselves on opposite sides of progress during one of the toughest times in American history. Damnation ran for only one season of 10 episodes before it was canceled, but it made quite an impact with the time it was given. I describe it as one-third Clint Eastwood, one-third John Steinbeck, one-third James Ellroy. Creator Tony Tost once noted about the series via the Lafayette Flyer. That is, it takes some characters you'd normally see in a tough Western, plops them in the world of Grapes of Wrath, and places them in the sort of pulpy paranoid narrative you see in Ellroy's novels. It's easy to see the John Steinbeck influence on Damnation for sure, given the tough, working-class subject matter and the Great Depression-era setting. James Ellroy's balance between pessimism and morality, mixed with tinges of conflicted faith, is certainly at play here too, and who could ignore the clear Western influences, particularly Clint Eastwood films like Pale Rider and Hang 'Em High. Being executive produced by the likes of James Mangold, 3:10 to Yuma, Logan, and David Mackenzie, Hell or High Water, doesn't hurt either. But while Tost's description of his series is accurate, pulling apart the specific references and influences isn't what makes Damnation interesting in and of itself. The show is compelling because of the subject matter: labor strikes, technological innovation, political divides, social consciousness, class wars, racism, and the role of religion in society. Each of these concepts is as relevant today as they were back in 1931, and while Damnation remains in its lane as a strict period drama, it's a show that's easy to see reflected in our world today. The parallels are often spooky, Tost noted, and truly they are, even if all the particulars and players involved are different. But beyond the political themes packed into this USA/Netflix co-production, the show thrives because it's rooted in dark, family drama of biblical proportions. And no, that's not an overstatement. Two brothers are at the center of Damnation. Seth Davenport and Creeley Turner are on opposite sides of the war for the soul of Holden County. On one hand, Seth preaches to his congregation in hopes of inciting penny auctions and grassroots activism. He aims to see the farmers of Holden treated with respect and dignity. Using the word of God as a sword, Seth leads the strikers faithfully, using them to start a political revolution. Creeley, on the other hand, is employed by the Pinkerton Agency to see that the strike is broken up without too much of a fight. Working on behalf of the banks and other elites hoping to end the strike, he's unafraid to kill whoever gets in his way, making for an especially bloody opening scene. To make things worse, these two are estranged half-brothers, and they couldn't hate each other more. Despite being canceled on an unresolved cliffhanger, the USA/Netflix show thrives as a standalone drama. Damnation may have had more life left in it, to be sure, but it can be watched and enjoyed on its own without the desperate need for resolution. After all, there's no easy way to end a series about farmers' strikes set in the early 1930s, at the very beginning of the decade-long Great Depression. Well-rounded and resolved character arcs are more than enough to see audiences through, and even if we don't know what becomes of Sheriff Don Berryman, played by the delightfully charming Christopher Heyerdahl, the sociopathic Connie Nunn, Melinda Page Hamilton, or the rest of Holden County, we can be sure that we've already seen them at their best, and undoubtedly their worst. Still, it's too bad we couldn't hear just one more of Seth's provocative sermons.